Instruction, golf news, equipment, travel, interviews, course profiles, and more. Your weekly fix of all things golf is about to begin. It's the Flagstick Podcast with your hosts, Jeff Botter and Scott McLeod.
Welcome in to the Flagstick Podcast with myself, Jeff Botter, and the other guy, Scott McLeod. The salute. Da-da.
I always salute. Did you know
you do, yeah, I noticed. The salute. The salute. Flagstick Podcast this week brought to you by Srixon Golf. At Srixon, performance is more than just a number. It is a feeling, one that starts with the forge. Introducing ZXI irons with iForged, a groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating that's taken Srixon feel to an entirely new level. ZXI irons from Srixon, how forged should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more information and the complete Srixon lineup. Okay, well, let's make sure that you're checking us out on all those social media networks: Instagram, X, TikTok, and Facebook. Please subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts, and of course, YouTube channel. Subscribe to it, like us, click the notification bell. Make sure that you never miss anything that we post up there, especially this podcast. And secondarily, is that a word? Secondarily,
yes, it's a word.
Some other stuff like the Flagstick Academy. Mm-hmm. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. All right.
What's going on, Jeffrey?
Wow, let me tell you. I did play. You know what? First of all, let's just say what's on the show, and then we'll get into talking about what I just did this recently. We're going to take you inside what it takes to put together a golf video series. We are going to preview the AIG Women's Open Championship, and we're going to discuss how good touring pros are at any level. Interesting conversations to be had, but let's get to the front nine presented by Metcalfe Golf Club. A natural setting, a pleasant challenge. It is golf season. Their course is in great shape. Book and pay online. Save 10% on your green fees. Popular game passes are always available, 10, 20s, and 30 games. Plus, check out the event series. Fun tournaments happening all the time. Lessons are available with the head pro Nick Search, and enjoy the great food of Hickory's Restaurant. Visit metcalfegolf.com. Okay. I played more golf.
Yay.
You know, it sounds weird that I'm even having that conversation.
Eventually, if this keeps going consistently, then it doesn't become a bit. It's just I just played golf, not I played more golf.
It's not it just seems really weird that I'm the publisher of a major golf media outlet. And I'm talking about the second 18 that I've played this year.
It's something I go on about to golf course industry people all the time. It's like, you have to make time to play. Otherwise, you will lose your attachment to the game and things that you love about the game, and probably some of the reasons why you're in the business. So,
I will say that has kind of happened over the years. Now, truth be told, I'm not playing because I don't want to play, or because I can't make time to play. That is easy for me. I am not playing because I do have some medical issues that keep me physically from playing as much golf as I like. I have to pick and choose when I play, when I'm not more or less in pain. So let's just be clear. So I figured out how to manage things a little bit better, so I'm able to play, at least get out once or twice a week.
Which is great.
And right now I've kind of gotten into this sort of routine where my son Brandon, who works on the maintenance team at Camelot, he has Fridays and Saturdays off. So he's Fridays, and I try to book somewhere on Friday.
Perfect.
He gets to get around to golf in. I get to get around to golf in with him, and we try to go somewhere different every Friday. So we're not going back to the same golf course every Friday. We're trying to go somewhere different every Friday, and make it an outing and make it part of something else.
For sure.
So it's become something else as it's progressed. So, but I did get out to play this past Friday at Nation Golf Club. Now,
where's Nation?
Nation Golf Club is Curran, Ontario.
Yep.
which is Curran,
Southwest of
Ontario. We call it North
Southeast.
Plantagenet, Wendover. It is east of. See,
People are sitting
that's
there
the
with their
thing.
Google
They're
Maps
going, where is Curran,
where's that?
Ontario?
Yeah.
But it's east. It's about 30 minutes east of Ottawa.
Yeah.
If you're driving, it's past Rockland,
Hmm.
and it's past It's past Camelot. It's past Rockland.
Sure.
So out. That's the next. The next step is Wendover, and then Curran, North Plantagenet area. It's anyway.
Get your Google Maps out, people.
Yeah, Google that. Google that. The last time I'm trying to remember, I tried to remember the last time I played the golf course, and I couldn't. But I do remember. I do remember. I know I played it more recently than
Me.
Yeah.
I played in a charity event a million years ago. That was about the last time I played it.
1998 was featured on the cover of
Right.
Flagstick, the spring issue of Flagstick magazine.
Yep.
And I believe the heading was "A Dream Becomes Reality." And
Okay.
so I referred to playing it then. I know that there's another time since then that I played it, but I know I played it then when I did a profile on it and photos and stuff. And it was awesome. Like, I mean, back then it was awesome. It was in great shape. It was it was a really nice routing, a decent mix of sort of flattish holes with some bends and lots of tree lining, which those trees have since grown up considerably.
I bet.
And some elevation down and across through the valley. Like it gets really a beautiful
it's a nice piece of land.
Beautiful piece of property.
It's all sand based through there too, right?
All of it. All of it.
Yeah.
So the turf is nice and firm. It's just
Yep.
it's just really, really good. And you kind of, when you don't play a golf course for a long period of time, much like when I talked about Homestead at Wolf Ridge, and you go back and play it, you kind of like, it's like you're rekindling your interest in that golf course. And
Sure.
it's not a long golf course by any stretch, but it makes up for that length in its challenging nature, I will call it. It's not.
Sure, yeah.
It's not big and wide. Let me tell you right now, you're not
No.
you're not landing Boeing 747s on the fairways there. You're lucky if you land a drone. So,
but playable.
extremely playable. No, extremely playable. It's big. I exaggerate that.
Yeah, just don't hit it sideways.
Yeah, the trees can be a bit of a problem if you're a little bit too crooked. But challenging. Loved it. Loved everything. Again, I thank Claude Blanchette for having Brandon and I up there. Really enjoyed it, and got some footage.
Cool. Looking forward to that.
So yeah, it was fun. So I'm going to try to keep doing this.
That's good. That's
I
great.
know at some point we'll share. I
Yeah.
will share some of this with everybody.
Yeah. What's good. I mean, that's one thing we've talked about is, kind of getting back out and playing some of those golf courses because, there is a case of, there are so many that are in our region, and a lot of people obviously that listen to this probably the same thing as well. They probably have golf course in their region they haven't been to in quite some time.
It's funny because I've had and I had the same conversations with a few people up there. When you pull in the Flagstick logoed vehicle, and people recognize that, and it's like every time that happens, I realize what I miss most about why I started this in the first place, and what I miss most about that fire that kind of had me doing this for almost 30 years now. Is that getting around the region, getting out there and seeing the golf courses and seeing the people and exposing the magazine name to everybody as you're driving around, the things that we used to get back when we produced the print magazine and then delivered it. When you delivered it, you saw 100 and some odd golf courses in 3 or 4 days. And that means that if you saw 100 and some odd golf courses in 3 or 4 days, then that means that an awful lot of people saw you, unless they happen to be on the midnight end of a power
delivery
route. So, not having that magazine, it's we don't have the same need to go around as much, and gas prices are through the roof. It's just so many little tiny things that keep you from doing the part that you love.
Yeah.
It's like a hockey coach who doesn't get to coach. But gets to go and watch all the games. Like, he gets to go on the bench and coach a game, but he doesn't get to coach and practice. Like, there's a part that's missing. and it kind of
Yeah.
bites you a little bit, like it
Yeah,
bothers you.
it's neat when you get out there. I think the other side of it as well, and this is a discussion I had with a couple of golf courses. They get caught up into the fact that this would be a great example as far as a golf course, as far as that era that they got open. There was lots of discussion about it or whatever like that. And what I think a lot of people forget is that even the golfers that are coming along now are a whole new generation of golfers.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't know, they're not familiar with those golf courses.
Yeah.
So that lends itself back to, from a marketing standpoint, you can't just market in your own silo and just think everybody's going to follow your content. They don't know where your golf course is. You know what I mean? So they have to have some attachment. So you have to have some way that you're reaching golfers outside of your own silo so that you can draw them in, because you're now marketing to the kids of the people that you used to market to before.
And
So
the thing is, the thing that we had, and the thing that we still have that we can use more is, and that the golf courses don't have this to be able to promote themselves, is that what worked for us from the standpoint of maintaining our exposure within the golf community was that we were visible around the golf community. We were always out there. Everybody saw us driving in. They saw us, at this event. They saw, like, we were out there. When you're not doing that, that younger generation that you talk about, the people that don't already know who you are, now they don't know who you are. Now you're relying on all that.
I'll say I was out there this week. I'll tell you that as we get to the next segment here. Yeah, for sure. I mean,
the difference being, Scott, that back in the old days, the only way to cover an event was to be at the event. So you go back and look at the days when Joe and you and I started, and we're doing this. We're at 20 events in a month.
Sure.
Now we get we get those results come in quick. We need those results in quicker. We need that. So everything happens so much faster. So we don't do that anymore. So we pick and choose the ones that we do go to based on the size of them, or based on the notoriety of the event. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's always the Canadian Amateur. It could be the Ethel Ferguson, but it depends on the event and the timing of it and what else is going on. It's just, things are different now. And I've just noticed more when I'm out there that's the part that I miss I miss the most. And I think that's the part that we don't have that same connection. And I think we can find it again. That's the thing.
I think there can be a discussion there regarding just general media and stuff like that. And there's a reason why local media and stuff are not out there. And it's not because there's not the desire to be out there. It's because of it's more from a business standpoint of how companies or support what we do and what everyone else does in a community level. But that's a whole other discussion.
Definitely. It's definitely not a discussion about me playing Nation.
I will tell you though, I probably got in 90,000 steps last week. I was glad last night to go and play 9 with my daughter at Smuggler's
I saw
Glen.
that.
She had
never played. Funky video.
She had never played Smuggler's Glen before.
Well,
this is a kid who got her first bike at Smuggler's Glen.
I remember that.
But never played it. So
picked a good hold of video.
Yeah, it was a good one up there off of 4 or whatever. So yeah, it was good, but it definitely came on the tail end of a very busy 6-7 days in a row where it was we had PGA Tour Americas going on in Ottawa, and we'll get to that in a little bit as we get to the end segment. Start talking about the pro golfers and the level of golf. 2 play junior golf tour events. There was one yesterday at Smugglers, and there was one on Friday at the Landings. And then I was out for Canadian Men's Amateur practice round on Saturday as well. So lots of stuff going on. Certainly saw lots of people. The neat part about the Canadian Men's Amateur, and I know we already previewed last week, we'll talk about the results next week when we get to the end of it, was the number of players in the field that we have connections with through things like Instagram. And it was hilarious to be able to go up and run into a player on the practice round. They were on the lesson tee, and there was a young kid that was there from British Columbia that I chatted with before, followed his play since he was probably like 12 years old, and he's like 17 now. But he knows who we are because of social media. And again, it was like all these different young guys, a lot of them that you go back and forth with, you know through social media, but you get to finally meet in person. So that made for a kind of a neat aspect of the day. But man, it is blazing out there. It was super, super hot. Practice rounds were slow. 264 players in the field, so split between the two golf courses. So there are bodies everywhere.
Is there media parking? Do you get like your own spot?
There's parking, but I didn't see specific media parking for that. And I mean, but there is parking for certain special someone, if you want to mention that acknowledgement, which was pretty neat. And that came from last week's podcast.
Yeah, so if you want to talk about the power of the podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Last week Scott mentioned on the podcast that wouldn't it be cool if the former 1980 Canadian men's amateur champion Greg Olson had a special signed parking space.
Yeah, well, I didn't even go that far. It was actually them that went that far, because it was really Schreiber was asking about, would there be parking available? And
yes,
it was more on, general manager Greg Richardson, and who really kind of took it to another level.
Yeah. So based on that conversation on the podcast, Greg Richardson, who's the GM at Royal Ottawa, created a sign.
Yep.
Specifically for past champion, 1980 Canadian men's amateur past champion Greg Olson.
Yeah.
And they created a sign and a parking space to welcome Greg, who was going to be going with Dave Schreiber to the event to kind of check it out and stuff. They create a special parking space specifically for him with a sign and everything. Yeah. And that came on the heels of the discussion that we had on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
So there is somebody that listens to the podcast. In case anybody's wondering, there are more than ones of people.
Yeah, it's not just our families.
That was quite cool. So,
it was, and it was
oddly enough. After all of that, I still, with the power of the podcast, can't get someone to send me a new Tim Hortons cup. Yet I can get Greg Richardson to have a special sign made up for a deserving individual who's attending the Canadian. Come on!
All right. Keep banging that.
I'm trying. Dang it, I'm trying.
But yeah, that was really
very
good.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but we'll have more on that. I'll be out Thursday to catch the finals of the Canadian men's amateur. So we'll wrap up that next week and have some more observations.
Hopefully, we got a good number of bodies from the local area that are. I looked at the leaderboard yesterday. It's a little thin at the top, but there's some close. I mean, I
think things will change today, because when they flip to the other golf course, then we'll see kind of how things sort of average out. Just because the low scores are happening over at Rivermead. Royal's a little tougher, so we'll see how things go. But yeah, hopefully some of those locals kind of push their way up. But it's hard. This is the hardest cut you can possibly make. I mean, 264 players are some of the best amateurs in the world. I mean, we're talking, Belgian amateur champion, Australian amateur champion, Japanese amateur champion. So, and it's going to be 70 in ties. So just to make the cut will be a huge accomplishment.
I'm surprised a little bit with the cut being, I mean, I know they've got to get it over onto one golf course and to make sure that they build in for weather delays and things like that they can't just split the field. But when you have the field that big, and you're cutting it from 264 down to 70 in ties, wow. That is a tough cut to make right there.
Yeah, especially when you look at players that are only a couple out of where the cut would be, and literally they could be tied for like 140th. So we're going to end up with we'll see how many players they kind of end up with, and it's certainly it's a tough one there. I will say as well, even on Saturday, the crowds, like there was obviously there's lots of family that are bringing, because there's a lot of teenagers and stuff that are involved here. Club, awesome job, tons of volunteers, really doing a great job. But there was certainly no shortage of people watching play coming on 18, be it members or otherwise, more than I would have expected. And, unfortunately, probably more than maybe even the pro event that was happening during this week, which is unfortunate, but, that's just the way it is. So anyhow,
all right.
that's another topic.
So we will further discuss the Canadian
Definitely.
Amateur next week on the podcast after it has ended.
Yes.
Although you will get all the information and whatnot that you need on flagstick.com pretty quickly after it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to get into this? I guess we've got lots of time. So let's get into this conversation here. Okay. So here's the thing. Obviously, we've talked numerous times about getting out and filming for the Flagstick Academy Instruction Series, which we launched last year around this time, maybe a little earlier than this, but and we started off. We filmed a day of filming out at Castleview Golf and Country Club out in Castleman, Ontario, and then we continued that on. With our series, our indoor series at Celtic Golf Center in Kingston and Kempville. Yep. And then we've been talking about the release of the second season, I guess, or the third season, depending on whether you're into seasons based on Survivor
collection.
Yeah,
Survivor.
Yeah, we'll call it
the 52nd season based on Survivor.
It's the third series. So we went back to Castleview again.
Just had some people, and the reason why this is prompted is just had a few people that were kind of curious because they watch a lot of content online. People do, but a couple of people said, how does this happen? How do you go about doing it? What's the process and stuff? So which led me to kind of throw up these notes and go, hey, why don't we let them know?
Well, here's the thing: the process starts with the idea of okay. We want to do something. In this case, we wanted to be able to create content for our website and for our YouTube channel and our social media. Right. We recognize that golf instruction is something that people can't get. They just love golf instruction, no matter
endlessly.
Like golf instruction, between whether it's golf instruction or it's equipment. This is probably the two biggest things that golfers are clamor after. Golf instruction being number one. And we wanted to be able to control the content of the website, the instruction content. It's very difficult. We have a lot of great PGA professionals in our region. For sure. We could go to them. We could go to any one of them anytime and do a golf tip or any kind of golf video. But they have their own schedules and they have their own time. And it becomes very difficult sometimes to kind of line this up and work with schedules and then work it into your own publishing schedule. So to make it easier for us to be able to create the content when we wanted it, to have it at our disposal week after week after week after week, we thought, hey, Scott is a PGA professional. So why don't we just do this? It's if I were doing the tips, then I can, okay, wait a second. I'm not a pro. Can you learn something from me? I mean, you could, I suppose, but it's not credible. And it has to be credible. And in our business, you get people that are trained and qualified to do stuff. And Scott is, so it made sense. Okay, why not just keep this in-house? Then we control every aspect of it. That was the idea. Right. So there's where it begins. It begins with the idea.
Now it's like, okay, let's flesh this out. And there's a lot of details that you have to flesh out to make this happen. Because as we know, with everything else, ideas are one thing, execution is a whole other story.
So now that we had the idea, now it's like, okay, well, who are we going to get to sponsor this?
Because you got to make a business case for it.
I mean, everything that we do has to be about generating revenue or in some fashion. It might not be specifically from this. It might be doing this to create it someplace else, but it's a business. Right. I mean, everything costs us money. Sure. So we went the idea of looking for a sponsor. And in this case, with this one, Castleview has been a partner of ours for a long time. They had just finished a major renovation to their driving range and practice facility. So we approached them about possibly sponsoring this and having this as part of their marketing plan for the years, to have us come out there and be the Academy Series sponsor, the inaugural series and everything. And they were all over it. They were on board. Justin Blouin was all over it, loved it. Claude Leclerc loved it. Like everybody loved the idea. So
Yep.
then, okay, so now we've got our sponsor.
Now the work really
We've got
begins.
the location. So
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
my part at this point is set aside. Now it's Scott's
Temporarily.
turn
Yeah.
because Scott's the pro. I don't write the tips. So Scott's got to then sit down and figure out, okay, we're doing 20 to 24 tips.
Yeah.
He's got to create the tips, and
Yeah.
we've got to film them on the driving range for the most part, because it's easiest way to do it in the first year
Yeah.
is to have it all filmed in one location, and then so it's
Yeah, and getting into those, I mean, you're sitting there and it might be easy. People think, oh yeah, a golf tip is a golf tip. And even looking at how we were going to deliver them, and that shaped what the content was going to be as well. Because again, we were looking at how we were going to use it in social media and our end use, YouTube and so forth. So we had to condense them. We had to try and keep them short, which creates some complications sometimes because you can't talk through things as much as possible. So you have to pick your subjects very carefully, working very hard to keep things as universal as possible. As we know, not every golf tip applies to every single person, but we still wanted to provide things that could cross over and help as many people as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
So that again meant, okay, we need to write these out, need to kind of script it, go through the process. And, as much as people listen to this podcast and don't think it's scripted, and it's not fully scripted, but we certainly have a script.
We have an outline.
We have an outline. That's exactly a great way to put it. And that's a lot of what we do, even for the golf tips as well, is providing an outline. It's okay, what's the purpose for it? How are we going to go do about it? What do you want to deliver? What's the point you want to deliver? And that gives us at least a list. We actually have to look at it. One of the things that happened early on was I'm sitting there busy looking at all sorts of swing stuff. And I remember Jeff saying to me, okay, let's make sure we have some on some different other segments. So it's making sure we blend in enough short game stuff, maybe some strategy stuff, maybe there's some trouble stuff or whatever. And you might think that sounds easy, but it takes a lot of drafts to go through and sort that out. And then you got to take it to the golf course.
Yeah.
And again, it's even it's not in this aspect of it. You have to look at the technical part of it as far as camera, microphones, how that's going to work, picking out dates as far as how the weather is going to be. The first ones we did, obviously we did in a blazing hot sun,
much like the way it's been lately. Very hot, 40-degree humidity, and we're out there. So here's the thing. So we've got our sponsor, we've got our location, we've got our tips. So we know what the tips are going to be, and we know, basically in this case, we knew sort of the order that we were going to do them in. Yeah. Now we get ourselves set up in the range. We got to pick exactly the right spot. We got to make sure that we've got the right station set up, and then we go and we start recording. Then it's not one take. I wish. So we go through all of that process, and then we change locations. We say, okay, we're going to go do the short game stuff. So go to a different location, set up again, get it all ready, then start working through that. Once we have all the tips.
And you're within those shootings. I mean, the reason why sometimes there's extra takes is not, yes, I'll have a few bobbles and stuff like that, but it's making sure the background is right, making sure that there's not something in frame. We're obviously, wearing the proper clothing. Next thing you know, a mower comes in the background. Other people come down the way. There's lots of different things that will change as far as that's concerned. So that's why it's a process.
Exactly. So now you've got your tips. We've recorded all our tips. In that case, it was all basically away from people as much as possible. And then you do, of course, run into the challenges of, this year when we did the tips, when we did the indoor tips, you got lighting challenges.
Sure.
You've got timing challenges because when the indoor place is open, it's way too loud to record. So you had to be in there early, or you had to be in there really late. So you've got those challenges. Not as much of an issue as the outdoor stuff can be because it's controlled environment. And the lighting's pretty much always going to be the same. But you've got to work it around. Then this year we went on course to shoot at Castleview for the third series. Now that created. We had to shoot only one direction because of the shadowing. And then we had the golfers on the golf course. We tried to get out early ahead of them, but golfers play quick. And you had tractors.
And we're trying to showcase the golf course. So
yes.
the
So
thing
we
is,
wanted as many spots as possible.
right, which doesn't mean sometimes you can shoot for certain angles. You want to shoot on that angle, and you want to shoot towards a hole, show off a location, but the lighting's in the wrong direction. So it's like, okay, let's go off to another hole.
Exactly. So then when all that's, so we got about a minute left here, we're going to take a break. But when all of that's done, then all the videos come back to me, and then I do the video editing and stream it all, put it all together, put the graphics and stuff on it, and create it in 3 or 4 different formats. And then boom, we can post it up all over the different social media networks. And and that's pretty much how it goes.
Yeah, and there is, obviously we'll make it quick here, but yeah, there's an execution with that as far as, how the pace that we're putting them out, newsletters, all that sort of aspect, using different pieces for different platforms. And yeah, it's not as simple as you think it is, people, but we're happy to deliver it, and hopefully you all follow it and give it a like and support it.
Okay. All right. We're out of here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the AIG Women's Open being going on this week. All right. So stay with us. You're listening and watching the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Barr and Scott McLeod.
How do you forge pure? With more pressure, more precision, more focus, more control. ZXI Irons. Pure forged. Pure Srixon.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Flagstick Podcast with Jeff Barr and Scott McLeod. We are getting into our back nine here, so let's get to it. The back nine presented by Falcon Ridge Golf Club with 27 holes of fun and challenging golf at great rates. Falcon Ridge is a golfing experience you should not miss. Do not forget, Falcon Ridge has also built the first TrackMan range facility in Eastern Ontario. That means TrackMan Range is all about exciting, easy-to-use features that provide the ultimate golf range experience for every golfer at every level. That's practice, games, and virtual golf. To book your tee times or to book one of the 10 TrackMan Range bays, visit falconridgegolf.ca.
You got it.
All right, yes. Back nine, talk AIG Women's Open preview. We try to do this before each major championship as we can, because major championships are kind of exciting to watch and kind of get talking about.
And we like the UK ones.
I love this one.
Did you watch the seniors at all?
Yes.
Did you see any of that?
Okay, I did watch the seniors. I don't know. The golf course, Sunnydale. It just.
But it's a parkland golf course.
Yeah,
but it's obviously got the heath and so forth. So why do I lose that word? It's different. It's obviously not a links golf course. So you see the heather and all the the blowout bunkers and stuff like that, but it is tree line, so it's much different than what we're going to see this week at Royal Portrush.
Yeah, and it's not that not to take away anything. I mean, but it does take away a little bit of that kind of the mindset when it comes to UK open golf or open championships of any level. Now flip the script. Now we're going to one of the best links golf courses in the UK.
And I'll relate this though back to the Champions Tour when the seniors played here before.
Was it 2019?
I was really excited to watch it, but the weather was so bad that you couldn't really see the golf course. So I'm hoping I can see the golf course this time.
Sorry, it was last year. It was 2023. It was only 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Okay. Yeah. I know it was recent.
Now the cool thing about let's just talk about Royal Portrush. Now the thing about Royal Portrush is this is links. This is true links test. Like, this is wide open links golf, sea views on every hole. The cool thing about this links golf course is not a lot of it has that sort of. I was about to say traditional routing, but that's not true, because this is where the game was. This is where the game was born. So when you talk about traditional routing, I'm going to refer to it as more of the North American style routing of a golf course, where you don't have that. St. Andrews has an out and in and out, or an out and back, where you're basically going up and down. All the holes play one direction going out, all the holes play another direction coming in. So you're either downwind, or you're with the wind, or it's a crosswind, one or the other. With Royal Portrush,
It's
all over the place. This is like down along the beach side, the seaside. Then you're going back in. So the wind directions are going to be all over the map for the girls, or for the women. So this is going to be exciting, especially if they get some of that wind. And now if the wind lays down completely, and this is
never as fun.
You know, it's not going to be the same. I hope they don't get the hard sidiways rain. I hope they just get wind. They just have to get. You have to get wind. Course is phenomenal. Like this is
it is phenomenal.
It should be hard. It should be fast. The lies should be like tight. This is going to be. We should see very traditional links play on a very very traditional historic links golf course. That's what we should see.
Yeah, this is the number one golf course in Wales, and it's also one of the biggest events ever to happen in Wales as far as a women's sporting event. So it's huge. It's the first time they've had it here for the women, and I think the players are even just listening to some of the lead up to the week. I think they're excited as well. Obviously, they're coming off being at St. Andrews last year, the old course, which obviously has its own inherent charms, but Royal Portrush. It's huge. It's big for them. This is way different than their last major where they're playing the Amundi Avion Championship. This is like the sharp contrast in golf courses for sure. So
this is major.
Yeah, and I think what we've seen over the years too is it brings out different skills. It lets you show the creativity as far as certain players. Sometimes you get a surprising winner, but we certainly see. I think the advantage for some of the players is the ones that that at least played the Scottish Open last week. Again, we'll have a little bit of some experience, but not that they played that traditional of a links last week. But it's very much like the men. It's having that lead up of playing the Scottish Open. Then they're ready to have a little bit more creativity, deal with the wind, deal with the bunkers, deal with the grief that comes with playing links golf course, the unexpected grief,
emotional ups and downs.
Yes, exactly. Especially sometimes when you hit a good shot and you think it's okay and it's 20 feet from the bunker, but then you realize that bunker just feeds everything into it, and you then have to go and kind of deal with that. And this is as we say, with all the bunkers and all the emotional turmoil that this causes, you definitely have to really kind of learn to take your medicine. You have to learn to kind of, be patient as much as possible. And, usually you're going to get a great champion out of it as well.
Now, I mean, we have our defending champions, Lydia Ko. And you talked about, there's always a chance of someone coming from out of nowhere to win. But generally speaking, it's probably going to be somebody with a little bit of experience and stuff. However, that said, I think that the eyeballs this week are going to be strongly placed on one individual player. And when we think about someone coming out of nowhere to win, I don't see this as coming out of nowhere. I see this as somebody who's right in front of your face and who might even be close to one of the favorites after last week's performance is Lottie Wood.
Yeah.
This is a rookie
betting favorite right now.
This is her second. This will be her second start as a professional golfer. Her first start was last week at the Women's Scottish Open, and what did she do? Oh, I don't know. She won.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and she won as an amateur. She won the Irish Open.
Yeah, and she also finished T10 here last year at the AIGA Women's Open as the amateur. So I mean, and
like this is nothing. This isn't like this is like okay. If Lottie Wood was to win, she didn't come out of nowhere. She came right. She didn't come from your blind side. She came right in front of you and said, "I'm a rookie." Now, there hasn't been this much hype on a rookie season since was it last year?
Maybe like Leona Maguire or somebody like that, but
well, who else was it just recently? I was last year the rookie that won her first start. Park. Was it Park?
I know Lillian Vu obviously, was strong in some of her early major debuts or whatever. So you'll have to look that one up.
Yeah, I'm going to because it's the names. I should know this.
Yeah. But I mean, this is the case of, like, everybody's been expecting this. Lottie Wode's been the number one amateur in the world for quite some time. Only
Rojang.
21. Rojang, yeah,
She
obviously
did it last. She did it 2 years ago. She did it in 2023.
Yeah, she won her debut at Liberty National. But yeah, I mean, Lottie Wode is, I think, the for the European UK side of things, this has been the superstar in the making. Played, as we mentioned, very well as an amateur, showed that she could do it as a professional last week, and it was it wasn't like she squeaked it in. Like, she was dominating last week. Whether she can do it again, whether she feels some pressure, because
always hard to back up.
It is, especially when you're going into it. It's a major. You know what I mean? It's like last week. No offense to the Scottish Open, big event and important and so forth, but it's not a major championship. So to put your name on that trophy means something, and to do it at 21 years old. And the fact is, just like we are right now, everybody's going to be talking about her.
Yep.
And you can imagine what it sounds like in the UK, where she is the betting favorite. And you can imagine every single announcer. I mean, that's the first thing on their lips, because maybe not in America they'll still obviously be chatting about
Nelly Korda.
Nelly Korda, of course. But Lottie Wode will be on the lips of many people heading into
It's funny, she just doesn't seem, when they interviewed her at the Scottish Open going into the final round, she just doesn't seem to have show any nervousness. Like, I mean, she seems very I'm supposed to be here. I don't know why everybody's so surprised. I'm not surprised. I got this under control. She says all the right things for sure. Mm-hmm. She shows that she seems that she's showing no nerves all the right on the
things
outside
right now so far.
Yeah, like, it's just I don't know. I mean, it's either she's just really, really good at hiding it, or she just really is kind of like, I mean, it's kind of like Tiger Woods, back in the day when he didn't really show any nerves.
No,
he just like, this is me. I'm ready. I'm supposed to be here.
I just wonder, I mean, you wonder how sustainable it is. And, do you all of a sudden wake up one day and realize, okay, well, now I'm playing everyone else and I'm playing for the paycheck. Mm-hmm. Whereas it might be a different situation if you're an amateur playing the events. You're sort of going, well, I'm not sort of expected to win.
Right.
I'm not doing it as my job.
But she handled that pressure last week.
But she did, well. Obviously. Yeah, she did do that last week. So, I have high expectations for it. If she finishes in the top 10 again, I'm sure it's pretty much a success. Mm-hmm. But to do it under these circumstances, I mean, here's the thing though, if she does it under these circumstances, just think what that does for her confidence level heading into everything else, going forward. I mean, it's not like there's not a bevy of talent that's out there and more of them coming. But if you can do this and lock it in and get it done at 21, and that, hey man, I've got the formula, I know how to do this. It's
she'd be in the Solheim Cup conversation pretty quickly.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you look at her experience, obviously playing things like Curtis Cup and so forth, you have to look at her as somebody from a match play perspective that she's going to be, value on your team. So,
mm-hmm.
Sure. And she's a superstar in the making for sure.
So we should talk a little bit about Nelly Korda, who did have a good week last week too. She's still world number one, but she's without a win this year. And she's seeking a major. Mm-hmm. This is kind of like, when we started talking at the beginning of the year of Scotty Scheffler, the kind of year that he had in 2024, could he carry it over? He had the little hand injury that kind of set things back a little bit. He started off the year just kind of average. And then he wasn't average anymore. Then he was back to being Scotty Scheffler and dominating week after week after week.
Yeah.
Is Nelly there? Has there been something like, is it just because you don't go from being that good and being that dominant to being where she is right now. She's still playing well. She's just not contending week after week like she was, and potentially putting herself in a position to win tournaments.
Right. And I think the thing for her was she was doing it in such a dominant fashion that it wasn't about the competition. Like you can play well and you can be not winning because the competition is playing well. But in this case, she was so dominant in her performances
Mm-hmm.
last year, that, she sort of took everyone who was contending kind of out of the picture more than anything. And so, you don't know, is it a lull? Is it just you're not feeling your game? It's not an automatic. Is it just a case of other players playing better?
That's
Um,
always a factor to be considered. It
yeah,
hasn't happened so much with Scheffler on the
right,
PGA
exactly.
Tour that
No,
he's still, everybody else still feels like they're playing for second place a lot of
second, yeah,
times. Now
yeah.
he's not winning by 15 or 20, but
No, but winning by
he's
4 or
winning
5
by
at
4 or
major
5 is pretty
championships. Yeah,
significant, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah, for sure. But there's other players that are obviously playing well heading into this. Grace Kim obviously won it at the Amundi, but had a wild finish to get there. Maya Stark obviously won a U.S. Women's Open. Minjee Lee's always a threat. Gino Thidickel's been playing great. But will Gino get her first major this week? I mean, she's knocking on that door.
yeah.
But again, these are all fun players to watch because we know these players as well. But it's seeing how they do. And again, Lydia doesn't want to she's handed back that trophy, but I'm sure she wants it
No,
back.
for sure. You can't discount her.
No,
Potentially going back to back, though back to back is tough.
yes, very
You
much.
also got Charlie Hull,
Hmm.
who being a European talent. I mean, she's familiar with playing golf in those types of
Yep.
conditions. She's pretty good at it. I mean,
Yep.
she won't have to deal with maybe an ailment.
Hmm. Yeah.
um, Georgia Hall, again, a
Yeah. She's
strong
played
European
well.
player.
Yeah, she's had success in Wales, and especially as an amateur, so she's familiar with the property as well. And that comfort level can be very important for those players if they played here before, and they played in these conditions. And if it makes a difference of a stroke or two, they can make all the difference in the world.
Big difference for sure. Again, we talked about Lottie Wode. What sort of a challenge does this golf course present for the women? It's just such an unpredictable golf course.
I think
Um,
ball striking is going to be such a big factor. I mean, we talked about the Avion and playing there. I mean, yes, you're playing at elevation, but you're also playing in conditions that are, very hilly. Um, but it's like, you've got greens that stick and you're hitting the golf ball in the air. Well, this is a case where, you're going to have the winds going all over the place. It's like, what's their ability to hit specific shots? What's their ability to control their trajectory? Are they going to be flustered by the fact that, if you get a whole location on the front part of the green, that you might have to bounce the ball in front of the green and roll it up? Again, it's a whole different creativity level, and you have to be comfortable beyond playing the stock shot,
yeah.
and that's not for everyone, for sure.
No, and did we see that with the men at Royal Portrush? Did we see that this? I feel like we didn't
It
see
was
the
different.
same
No,
creativity. It was
no, but
it wasn't.
that was dictated by the golf course a little bit because you've
Yeah,
got those elevated greens. So there's not much of a there's a little bit of a ground game with some of the chips and pitches around the greens, but there's not so much in the approaches.
yeah.
Whereas Royal Porthcawl is a little bit more traditional, a little bit more level around the green. So there is an opportunity for more of that, which again, as you talked about it, just said there, we didn't see it at Royal Portrush. We didn't see it at Sunningdale for the Senior Open. So
No.
this is our first opportunity
Yeah,
for the Open
gets
this
me a little
year.
bit more excited. Like I was pretty excited about Royal Portrush just because it's Royal Portrush.
Right.
But a Royal Portrush is not your as exciting as Royal Portrush is to see.
Right. It's not
Watching them
exactly the
play it
same.
is not the
Yeah.
same kind of playing when they play St. Andrews or when
Hmm.
they play Carnoustie or they play,
Yep.
other courses on that rotation, Muirfield, like it's different.
Yep.
And this is the traditional link style. So it'll be really, really interesting to see how the women handle
Hmm.
this type of a golf course. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to
Yeah.
watch. And
I like
early morning golf
coffee
watching is
golf.
the best.
Yeah.
I'm up anyway. Why wouldn't I want to watch golf first thing
Yeah.
in the morning? Why do I want to wait until 2 o'clock in the afternoon to watch golf?
I really like Leona Maguire this week, from Ireland, gritty, tenacious. She likes challenging conditions. So whatever the golf course throws at her, she's probably one of the ones wanting challenging conditions.
Mm-hmm.
So there's gonna be players, I think, that probably after they play their practice rounds, they're probably gonna either think, man, I hope this golf course lays down because they don't want to get beat up. Whereas other ones are like blow, wind, blow, so I can help eliminate more of the field. And I think that becomes an advantage for those players that maybe grew up playing in the UK. Getting used to those conditions, it's normal for them. Whereas there's going to be a lot more adjustments for maybe even for some of the younger Americans that are over there playing for the first time. And I look at that as well for the Canadians. Not only does has Brooke Henderson, she's played a lot of Open championships, but Anna Huang, who's only 16, who's playing the LET this year, who's a pro, she got in Monday in the qualifier shooting 67, but this is going to be her first go at this in these conditions. So we'll see how that plays out for her and for those younger players. So harder, I think, for those younger players to maybe get through and persevere. You're definitely going to see a player that probably has a little bit more experience that's going to do well here, in my mind.
So there you have it. Okay. Well, that's a little preview. Obviously, next week's show we'll follow up on what we thought, and obviously who won and who played well,
and see how badly our predictions go down.
And did we really make a prediction? I didn't really.
No, not so much. Well, I did prediction. A little bit.
I don't think Lottie Wode is going to win, but I think she will be. I think she will be in the mix. I don't think Lydia Ko is going to defend.
It's hard to pick a winner for sure.
It is. I think she's going to be in the mix, and I would say the likelihood is that the winner is going to come out of sort of that pack of Minjee Lee.
The top 20, top 25 players in the world.
Gino's due. I mean, it just feels like she's due. Maybe Grace Kim, but again, you win. Winning multiple majors.
That's hard to
do.
And the way she won that,
I don't know. I mean, I agree with you. I like Leona Maguire. But to win a major, I don't know. I mean, it's like the women's game is, to me, is a little less predictable because there seems to be a lot more parity to.
Can be, yes.
It just seems like it's like anyone on any given week. Whereas in the PGA Tour, you almost feel like it's this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and then maybe some of these.
I'll give you one more to look for. Celine Boutier from France. She won the British Women's Amateur at Port Stewart, which is very traditional links in Northern Ireland, and very, obviously prone to win and stuff like that. So, she might be a player to follow this week. So,
all right, well, we'll see. We'll see how we make out with our sort of lackluster predictions.
Yeah, exactly.
Our lack of predictions.
Yeah.
Okay.
But speaking of pro golf,
yeah. So, this week. Just past week, just concluded on Sunday. The PGA Tour Americas was in Ottawa, in the nation's capital, at the Eagle Creek Golf Course, out in Dunrobin, Ontario, and as I expected, this was going to be super, super low. I talked to some people at sort of as this tournament was sort of progressing, the first two rounds. They're like, I've played Eagle Creek. How in the world are these guys able to shoot?
It was 61 at that point.
I know, and I'm like, well, I said, you've played Eagle Creek, but you've played Eagle Creek.
Yeah,
you are a 15 handicap. You are a 16 handicap. Eagle Creek for you is hard. Right. Eagle Creek is not a hard golf course. It's difficult.
Not when the wind lays down and it's hot.
No, and when you're already good. Eagle Creek is not hard. So if you are a high handicap player going to Eagle Creek, even if you choose the right tees, I mean, there is stuff to get you in trouble at Eagle Creek. There's water everywhere, which plays havoc on average amateur golfer scores and high handicapper scores. Better players don't. That doesn't bother them. Bunkers that for you and I are in play are not in play. It's not a terribly long golf course.
No, and especially in the summer heat when there's, it's playing a lot shorter, 7,000 becomes, 6,500 for these players.
Well, that's it. And I've always people always talk about, even 18, the peninsula, the peninsula. These guys don't hit to the peninsula.
No,
they're blowing it down the right-hand side of that fairway past the peninsula.
Yeah. If they hit
they're hitting, shorter.
If they go for the peninsula, they hit three wood onto the
if that. Right? I mean, it's not for you and I. We're like, we get to the maybe not for you and I, but I mean, in the old days, driving the peninsula was like, oh my god, I'm playing the back tees. I got to hit it 230 to reach the peninsula, maybe 240 to the middle of it. This is a big, and you're all excited about it and wound up about it. Well, PGA level players. We're too worried about it. Like it's not in there. They're not thinking like that. They're thinking of it's like a freaking par 3 for them to hit it there. And they're thinking, am I going to hit it 10 feet left or 10 feet right? Or they're taking a driver and blowing it right over the corner of that peninsula and leaving themselves like a 7 or 8 iron into that green. So
and I will say this: the greens were in really good shape, so players were able to roll the ball really, really well out there. I spent time on Tuesday with one of the players that was in the group, was Phil Barberie, who ended up shooting 59 later in the week with his wife Chloe on the bag. And again, watching these guys play, and here's the funny part: he was playing with Chad Sewell, one of his other friends. Chad actually shot 59 back on July 19th. Back in his hometown in Conroe, Texas. So these two guys both shot 59 within a couple weeks of each other. One an event, one in a casual type event or whatever. But again, they're not nervous. I mean, that's the other side of it too. When we talk about the better players, players get nervous when they get a couple under par. These guys are not nervous. This is their job. This is what they do. This is how they, and not to say they're not thinking about it, but when a guy shoots 61, he's now thinking, how do I shoot 60? How do I shoot 59? And and the capability of that.
It's insane.
-6 was the cut. We knew it was going to be low.
Yeah.
And again, no offense to, some people were sending me stuff about particular players, kind of getting in the field and stuff like this. If you finished -12 in this tournament, you were tied for 58th. This is like, it looks good when you're looking at that score, but when it's relative to everyone else. So as we talked about on the podcast last week, I mean, these players are at the level, they're just don't happen to be on the tour. The next tour,
that's
the
it.
Korn Ferry Tour, the PGA Tour, but they are more than capable of shooting the numbers. You're talking about Phil Barberie, who shot one of the 59s. He made the cut at Oakmont.
Yeah.
So it's not like these are just some dudes that are just playing the mini tours. These are highly capable players. So it was no surprise to see Brett White. He ends up shooting 59 on Sunday, which was the second 59,
and then wins in the playoff.
And birdied the 2 holes in the playoffs. So this dude was 15 under for 20 holes. Sadly, and I'm not going to harp on too much of it, there wasn't many people there to watch that happen, which again, we know that is a continual theme that we see, unfortunately for some of these events, is people don't take the advantage to go and see these players, for a number of different reasons.
I think next year, I mean, here's the thing. I think next year when they make the switch to the marshes, I think that the crowds will come up a little bit. Now, they didn't have the crowds. So. They didn't have the crowds when this tournament was at Highlands.
No, correct.
They didn't have the crowds then. They had originally prepared for large crowds. They didn't get the crowds. And Eagle Creek's a long way out. It's, I get it. I understand. But Marshes is right in the heart of Canada. There's tons of shopping around. There's tons of restaurants around. There's lots of accommodations around. It's very easy to get to. So I feel like that they may have larger crowds for that, but I will say this: there needs to be more discussion about it, more marketing, more promotion of it. Like it's, I mean, they had bigger crowds for this event when it was at Smuggler's Glen, and Smuggler's Glen is not.
Yeah, a variation. This wasn't this actual event, but a variation.
No, but I mean,
it was being in Eastern Ontario, for sure. Yeah.
So I mean, again, we talk about this. These players are really, really good. Like these are the guys you see this in the PGA Tour Americas. It does their own promo on TV, and you see them talk about, before he won here, he won here. Before he won here, he won here. Well, do you think that you're going to see Brett White's name at some point or another on the PGA Tour? I mean, the difference between the Korn Ferry Tour and PGA Tour Americas is like.
Yeah, he's been on the Korn Ferry Tour, so I mean, he's not that far away.
They're so close.
Yeah, it's just a matter of getting a spot, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Yeah. When we talk about this, when all those guys jump to live, I know, people say what they say about live and whatever. The guys jumped to live, they went for the money, bye-bye, you're gone. Your decision. But what that did is it opened up the bottom end of everything, and now there was spots on the Korn Ferry. Now there was more spots on the PGA Tour, higher spots for guys that had lower standing, or status. So now some of those guys started to move their way in. Yeah, there just needs to be space for them to go. Once there's space for them to go, you'll start to see them. But it's not easy.
It's so deep. It's so deep.
Two guys shot 59 in the same tournament.
Yeah. Yeah,
not to mention all the ones that shot 61 and 62, and I mean, I don't remember what the score was all the times it's been at Eagle Creek. I don't think 26
This is the lowest. No, this is the
I
lowest.
feel like 21 or 22. And Aaron Oberholzer won, I think it was in the 20s, but that's the only one that comes to mind, to be honest with you. So like, I don't know what else to tell people. When you get the opportunity to go watch this stuff, you got to go watch it.
Well, the other side of it too is when we do the comparison, we're looking at, the Canadian Men's Amateur being in town this week or whatever. I think, you can see a very difference in the players. And I look at it as, from a media perspective, I look at a coaching perspective, I look at a number of different things. You can see the players that are at the Canadian Men's Amateur that understand that they're technically have a long way to go. But you can also see some players strutting around like they think they're it, and they've got there and they're at the top of the game.
You ain't it. There's and I'll go back to Derek Ingram from the national team coach, walking with him one time at the Canadian Open at Hamilton Golf and Country Club, and we were talking about the myth of elite, and he was talking about the fact that here was the Team Canada guys that were there, they were playing, and he's like, these guys are not elite, not in this field. So the thing is that there's levels in everything that you go to, and the players that I'm not saying there's not going to be players from that Canadian Men's Amateur this week that are not going to go on to play professionally and play very well, but it doesn't quite have the depth of that. And as you go up in each level, it just gets deeper and deeper and deeper. And again, 3 guys shot minus 26, not just 1, 3 shot minus 26 to get into that playoff. And again, for those players, they have to look at it and go, man, I need to be better and better and better every week, because like I said, if you shot 15 under, you got dusted. How do you I mean your mindset there, you're out there, you play 4 rounds of golf. Let's say you throw up 4 rounds where you shoot in the mid 60s.
Sure.
And you're not even sniffing.
You don't win. Yeah.
I mean, you're 6 shots behind or 8 shots behind. That just, that blows my mind that you can, that you're shooting those kinds of numbers. Now, again, like I said, Eagle Creek is a beautiful golf course. It's a beautiful layout, but it's for a professional level player, it's not hard.
Not if you get it in the right conditions, especially. So if you don't, there was one afternoon where there was a lot of wind came up and the players were on that side of the draw and really kind of beat them up, where all of a sudden there was gusts of wind, 40, 60. But if you're playing it in inert conditions, like you're playing it in a dome, and like I said, when things start to get firm and fast, and, say it's a 430-yard hole, and, these guys all of a sudden have, it's a dog leg left, let's say. And they've got a target out there at like 260. Well, all of a sudden, if these guys are flaming 3 irons out there, it becomes a really easy test for them, because their dispersion on a club like that is not much. So they're going to be in play, and they're going to have an approach. They're going to hit lots of greens, and they're going to make lots of putts. And and they're not afraid to make birdies, and they're not thinking about making bogeys.
No. And bunkers don't bother them. And the bunkers at Eagle Creek are pretty, for a player of that level, those are not hard bunkers to get in and out of.
It doesn't make them nervous. Let's say that.
No. I mean, it makes me nervous. Although I did have a bunker shot at Nation, and I pulled that one off too, and there's video evidence of it. So this is twice I've been in the bunker.
2 weeks in a row.
Brandon says you just got to put a video camera on me, and I'm a bunker wizard.
You just need to play from the sand nonstop. So.
Yeah, no, I do not want to do that. But yeah, again, it's just they're at another level. People need to understand that this is when we talk about PGA Tour Americas, we're not talking about some pitch and putt friggin' pro tour somewhere where it's just a bunch of guys playing one-day events and even those guys are good, but we're talking about guys that are on the cusp of jumping to the next level and the biggest level. They're so close. Yeah, and you have an opportunity to watch them play. Yeah.
And if you think your buddy that's +2 is really good, where do you go see these guys?
Yeah. And you got to watch, you got to listen too. Like the one thing that I've noticed more about professional level players is listen. It's the sound that the ball makes when the club comes in contact with it. It's a different sound. It's a pure sound, and you don't hear that. Some amateurs have are pure ball strikers, but most of us amateurs, I'm a single digit handicap and have been for a long time. My ball does not make that sound when my club hits it. Like it is different. And you could tell that they're compressing the way that they're compressing the ball. You can see how it jumps off the face and goes like it just the way they control their ball flight and the movement of the ball. Like it's just
you see the dispersion dispersion is way less, and their idea of a miss is way different than what ours might be. Yeah, but totally. It's fun to watch, fun to be out there, and like I said, get to see Phil. 2 guys that shot 59 in the last couple of weeks was a pleasure. So
that is pretty cool. So, all right. Well, that I think that puts a wrap on this week. Good show as always. We'll have some more great stuff for you next week. We want to thank all of our sponsors this week: Metcalf Golf Club, Falcon Ridge Golf Club, and our presenting sponsor this week, Srixon Golf. Srixon Performance is more than just a number; it's a feeling, one that starts at the forge. Introducing ZXI irons with iForge, the groundbreaking achievement in shaping, pressing, and heating. That's Srixon Feel. Takes Srixon Feel to an entirely new level. ZXI irons from Srixon, how forge should feel. Visit Srixon.ca for more and the full lineup of Srixon products. Well, we do and certainly hope that you've been enjoying watching and hearing what we've been saying. Be sure to follow us across all of our social media networks, Instagram, X, Facebook, and TikTok. Subscribe on Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. And don't forget the YouTube channel. Like us, click the notification bell, make sure you never miss a single episode or miss the launch of Flagstick Academy Series number 3 from Castleview Golf and Country Club. Get over to flagstick.com for more amazing golf content delivered every single day, and be sure to subscribe to our Flagstick Digest newsletter. Totally free, totally delivered to your inbox 3 times a week, complete with so much great stuff. But as always, I appreciate you tuning in. Until next week, I'm Jeff Botter.
I'm Scott McLeod.
Remember, always go for the stick.